bait their opponents in, set it up for the 3v2 early Xin Zhao gank, and then it's like, well, we're dead. Like, Jose arrives, he does end up getting the kill back onto the Corki, but both of his guys are already dead, so makes it a little bit tough. Let's see what we get in our third game now, as Team Liquid is going to continue to ban the Jarvan and the Jace. Over on the other side, Orianna and Karma both staying banned. These first rotation of bans feel pretty solidified in this series.
Really set. No Orianna, no Karma. Sorry, Ezreal, your Cryogen Karma in Fantasy is not going to happen. The champion multipliers don't matter that much. There's
it's not the most important thing of all time. Cassiopeia also banned out here from TL. This one's a little bit of a switch up, but it is one of Quad's famous pocket picks.
Yeah, it would also set up a Ryze threat on first pick, something Quid's very strong at. Cassio would be the counter pick to it. If you're going a counter pick to it, and Cassio is gone, you might go for Anivia, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's see if they lock in the Ryze first.
All right, what are we going to get here, TL? Bard was the last ban in the first half for the FlyQuest side. What do we want?
Varus, Neeko, bot lane. Team Liquid playing through bot lane.
Okay, fair enough.
That's the look.
Varus is one of those champions that is so commonly banned in the first 6 that when he's not, he's almost always the insta-slam.
True. But it's interesting that they banned the Cassio to set up a Ryze pick and then instead have gone for a Varus, but I do feel like it's going to make it somewhat difficult to match it in lane.
Okay.
If they take the Neeko themselves, it at least gets rid of the really dominant pair. So I think that would be smart by FlyQuest. And then, yeah, maybe they just lock in their whole bot lane here with the Ezreal hover.
Okay. Let's see if they want to full commit onto that one. I feel like Neeko is just so good. I feel like this champion just has so much both direct and indirect power with the way that she can control vision, with the way that you can utilize the mind games of the camouflage. And then just, I have an ultimate that creates so much space in a fight that it can warp the entire outcome of that. So works well with a ton of things, and the Ezreal will be locked in beside it there from us.
I understand why they wanted to secure the Ezreal early, but it makes me wonder what Quad has in terms of the Ryze matchup, because I think clearly Team Liquid is happy to play Ryze into anything based on their bans, and Quad could have just taken it and they could take the Ezreal on 3, which means they could drop jungle to 4-5, which Gryffin should be fine with because he's got a massive champion pool.
Yeah.
But aside from just forgetting about it, which is doubtful, this to me says the Quad has something that he really wants to play into the Ryze, potentially just the Anivia.
Right. There's got to be some kind of an answer. You don't just... the writing is so clearly on the wall. They're going to play Ryze here. That's going to be the champion. But, okay. Do we go ahead and get the Renekton locked in here? Go ahead and slam both solo lanes nice and early for TL? Yes, we do.
I mean, it's kind of nice in the sense that these are 2 solo lanes that are relatively difficult to counter, especially this much later into Fearless. There's no Gnar to be able to play into it since that was played in the last game. And FlyQuest they can only answer one of them at the moment, and then you're going to have defense bans that TL is going to be able to put in for the next 2. So they're holding their support pick because CoreJJ feels like he has enough, and they're forcing FlyQuest into an early choice here.
I mean, honestly, every time I see Renekton into Sion, at least in NA, I'm always going to side with the Sion every single time. I feel like we don't see Renektons build enough of an early lead to get to the point where they outweigh what Sion brings to the table later on in the game.
Not to mention, a lot of the damage is already locked in for Team Liquid. And even though Ryze is pretty good, unless you're going attack speed Varus, the damage you have to kill a Sion is pretty low. So it's a pretty good slot to pick the Sion in. Not to mention jungle not picked yet. Ezreal's pretty good into Trundle. Trundle would be the other thing that's good into Sion. So curious if FlyQuest actually bans the Trundle, because I'd be looking for a Trundle angle if I'm Josedeodo here to help with the Sion.
Okay, we'll keep an eye on FlyQuest's bans here because the first one is the Rakan. They want to focus on engage angles because right now Team Liquid doesn't really have any engage. I mean, you can try to make a pick with Chains of Corruption. You can use Realm Warp to catch somebody off guard, but there's no hard go button on these first 3 champs.
Absolutely not. They have good, if they flanked you, good fighting engage, but if you're in an eye contact fight, pretty short range, hard to walk in. So Rakan ban is pretty good there.
All right, FlyQuest, are we feeling the Trundle? Do we respect the Josedeodo Trundle enough for that to be the final ban of the draft? No, instead, gonna go after...
They banned the Anivia for support, I guess? They're banning Anivia support?
Yeah, it has to be Anivia support because you know that Ryze and Renekton are already both locked.
Yep, that has to be it. But that's also what you'd expect Quad to play into Quid.
Right.
He's cooking.
Okay,
He's cooking something into this Ryze.
If he picks something boring, generic, and meta, I'm going to tilt, dude. I've got to see something crazy.
I mean, Quad has a full printout of champions in front of him. He was reviewing it before the game, and I can see him on stage right now, still has that page of, I don't know, matchups or his own pool. So he's cooking on something for sure.
All right. I really hope we get something spicy here. But all right, double quote-unquote support bans for FlyQuest, Rakan and Anivia. Over on the other side, Team Liquid, double jungle bans, getting rid of the Vi and the Wukong. So let's see where FlyQuest want to go with this next one.
All this for Viktor?
Bro.
Quad?
No.
My man.
I'm sorry, dude. I'm mad. This is... No. We were talking about how he's cooking. He's got some matchup. Look at the way they're banning this stuff for Viktor from Arcane.
I'm going to marginally outlane him with Viktor. And hope to outscale.
Okay. All right. This better be the coolest Viktor of all time. Otherwise, it's just, man. Okay. Well, I mean, let's see how TL wants to round out their composition here. They did double ban junglers in this second half of the draft. Okay. We got a Lee Sin for Josedeodo.
If you're confident on it, you can make it work. Owner had an amazing Lee Sin game just this past week. Really ran the server with it. But they're going to have trouble matching 5v5 damage into Viktor, Sion, Ezreal if this ends up going late. This is Team Liquid, I think, putting themselves onto a bit of a timer. They have to play up tempo. They have to be in FlyQuest phase.
Yeah, I mean, you've got Lee Sin in the jungle, which is historically like you need to make plays early. You've got Renekton, which is one of the best like early top laners to create pressure and have a point to play through. You've got Varus in bottom lane. Like TL has their foot pedal to the metal from the very get-go.
They do. And speaking of Trundle, that's where Gryffin goes. He just goes for even more scaling. So they're going to eat the Renekton or the Rell. If they ever try and go into the fight, it'll just be Trundle ult in to burst them. But relatively difficult for the Trundle to play the early game into Lee Sin. Lee Sin can really fly around him a little bit. So Gryffin has definitely struggled in early crab fights, early Drakes, not overcommitting. But maybe having such an insane scaling team composition can give them some confidence to sit back.
Okay, let's see what we get, because the scaling is truly on the side of FlyQuest. The pressure is on TL to make sure things can happen early. I always have my qualifier, I guess you'll call it, for Lee Sin, is if you hit level 7 on Lee Sin and your score is 0, 0, and 0, why the hell did you pick Lee Sin?
Yeah, true.
That's the question.
What's your minute break point? 7 minutes?
No, level 7. Because
7.
that means you had your ulti for an entire level and were not able to make any plays pre-ult or even once you had the Dragon's Rage unlocked.
Okay.
I feel like if you hit level 7 on Lee Sin and you're 0, 0, and 0,
it's a fail.
It should have been a different champ.
Okay.
That's where I'm at. So that's going to be what I check in on.
I like this.
Yeah.
I feel like we need to make more of these rules. We should sit down and brainstorm.
Just random arbitrary rules for
champion. This is your breakpoint in the game. I think it'll be fun.
Yeah. The Lee Sin level 7, that's my breakpoint. That's what we're going to check in with for Jose in this game. Does he affect the game pre-level 7?
If you pick Renekton into Sion and you don't get 2 plates and 20 CS by 15 minutes, it's a fit.
Okay.
It's how I feel.
Okay. That's going to be our other check, because so much of this game, like we're already talking about, is TL must be active early. They must make these early picks work. They have to control the tempo of the early game. So that's specifically what we're going to look at for this top side. Josedeodo has to get involved in something pre-level 7, and we want to see Morgan 2 plates and 20 CS, you said?
Yeah.
By 15?
I feel like it's probably more like 20 seems ambitious. But yeah, 2 plates and 20 CS by 15 minutes.
Okay. All right. That's what we're going to check back in on. At 7 minutes and 15 minutes, and see if TL can get that early game gas that they need. Massu and Cryogen with the Ezreal and Neeko down here in the bottom lane, laning up against Varus. Well, of course, Rell is kind of the odd one out down here. Everybody else has their skill shots. They can play their ARAM laning phase back and forth with, just trying to land as much as you can, get control through the accuracy. But Core's going to be the one who kind of has to sit on the sidelines here early.
Yeah, we really haven't seen much Rell in the last couple months. It felt like Huhi was the only one that played it in the LCS last split. It did receive a small buff recently, so a chance to play it and make some good plays. When Rell came out, CoreJJ was insane at it, so he definitely sees good engage angles. But the biggest thing I need to see here is, like, are Yeon and CoreJJ willing to lose a lane? Because they lose lane in the past this year because they're unwilling to lose lane, if that makes sense.
They don't lose gracefully.
They'll take a losing matchup and they'll try and win, and it'll go really badly. But here, like Rell into Neeko, Ezreal, you really have to bide your time, and that means they have to sit at their turret for a large portion of this laning phase. I want to see if they're able to have the discipline and do it.
Yeah, that's what we'll keep an eye on, especially after game number 2 was such a bot gap. It was such an avalanche in FlyQuest's favor just because of that early 2v2 victory. As we take a look at where our junglers are starting, it's a path towards the top side for Josedeodo, path towards the bottom side for Gryffin. It doesn't look like we're really going to get a chance to see any ganks, any early activity out of either one.
Very unlikely. This is as full clear into Scuttle, into Deep Ward, into Reset as I've seen in a while.
Yeah, there's... Sometimes I like to be like, well, maybe, you know, we'll get something creative, something crazy, but no, this one certainly doesn't seem to be trending that way.
The only thing I'd say is it depends on how much poke Yeon takes, because I could see Gryffin going into Tribrush and just seeing if something's there before he resets, because if you're doing this top to bot full clear that didn't start at Raptors, you do have a small window where your camp is going to be respawning anyway, so
a little bit of
kind of just play defense, and if something happened, but as we can see, teleport from Yeon, a little bit low, gonna go back to base, get his tier, teleport back, and be full health, so no dive.
All right, well, Jose shows up here in the top side, but he walks right over a ward in the pixel brush there from Gakgos. It's a 90% HP Sion, so you're not really going to make anything happen against this guy, I have to feel like.
Highly unlikely. Big break point for Sion in this lane is when he can buy his first armor item. Usually, if you get Bramble Best early, I feel like it's really hard for the Renekton to push his advantage. So Gakgos on track for that, sitting on a biscuit and a health potion as well. And Gryffin taking a little bit of extra time, actually trying to burn something from Morgan.
Yeah, Morgan could be in some serious danger here. Flash into the chomp from Gryffin, throws out the pillar, but Morgan manages to escape. Does cost him his flash, though.
I really like that gank, actually. It's going to delay his taking of the Krugs by, 10 or 15 seconds, but getting flash and getting the shove out for Gakgos is just going to help him accelerate in that lane. Viktor is fine against the Ryze, just farming. The Ezreal Neeko is fine as well. So just getting Sion through that difficult part of the lane, now with his Bramble Vest, makes him pretty likely to not lose 2 plates and not be 20 CS down by 15 minutes.
Yeah, true. That's going to potentially affect our 15-minute timer there, as you can see Josedeodo ticking up to level 5 here on the Lee Sin, as Quid is going to force Quad back in mid lane. Flash for flash between our mid laners. Neither one of these guys has mobility built into the kit, so now I want to see jungle attention over at mid.
And it would be Jose jungle attention, because with no flash on Trundle, you really don't want to walk into too many dangerous spots.
Well, speaking of dangerous spots, Cryogen eats a decent chunk of damage there, but considering Massu can fire back onto Yeon, mostly an even trade between the duos.
Yep, Cryogen talked before the game about how he spent so much time watching CoreJJ growing up. He's really excited for this matchup. That game 2 must have felt pretty amazing to just dive CoreJJ on repeat in a game. It'd be even sweeter if they're able to win the series off the back of winning bot lanes. Ooh, big poke there landed by Yeon. Cryogen's just going to go try and hit this Drake, but I wonder if Quid wants to fly in.
Team Liquid is definitely thinking about this, but a TP about to arrive from Quad, so both mid laners are nearby. Josedeodo, level 5, making his way over. Quid has to make sure he steps out of the gravity well. Already half HP damage onto Quid, but he's got the first blood here on the Ryze. Griffin's in some danger as Josedeodo has to try to get away. Massu wants to chase and secure the kill, but he can't quite find the damage. Yeon takes out Gryffin, and Josedeodo hops right back in. We said that Team Liquid needs to run the early game, and this first fight is exactly what they were looking for. Quad barely hobbles away, but it's a 3-1 game for TL.
And they just needed to bide their time, which they did there. They didn't fly in too early, as Morgan is going for a kill on the Gakgos as well.
Not going to get that one.
Okay.
Okay, not going to get that
crazy. But that fight, possibly because Cryogen took so much poke early, it made Quid say, okay, let me just see. Let me see if something is here. And rather than prioritizing trying to take the Drake, Jose walks all the way over, and by the time he joins the fight, look at the beginning health bars. Cryogen is actually gone. Quid's able to one-shot him, and then Massu can't finish Jose at the end, falls in a fog of war. and just bides his time until he lands the Q for the execute. So, mission accomplished for Jose. 1 kill, 1 assist before level 7.
Yep, exactly. That's what I wanted to see out of Lee Sin. If you draft Lee, you gotta get busy early on in the game. And you could also see there that it was Yeon's Comet on the Varus that secured him the kill onto Gryffin, and just getting some early money on this powerful AD carry, especially after a game that was as, we'll call it unfortunate, as game number 2. Really good sign for the momentum of TL.
Yep, and still being stuck in this pretty tough matchup. But if he hits 6 and they have no flash Corki, no cleanse Corki, that's their window now. Level 6 on Varus. If they are able to land the R, they'll get a kill. Another gank top though.
Yeah, Morgan in some danger. They're already going to commit the subjugate, and Gryffin just applies club to face, and that Renekton is not going anywhere, so FlyQuest will pick up kill number 2.
Still a lot of scaling for FlyQuest, even if Team Liquid is looking for the skirmishes. Yeon able to land the R, actually.
Yeah, Cryogen now has to flash away. Serious danger here for the support on FlyQuest, and Massu's not exactly out of the woods either. Josedeodo roundhouse kicks him all the way back to the fountain. The Dragon's Rage provides the kill. 2-0-1 on the Lee Sin.
Yeah, I really liked the first gank that Gryffin did top lane on Trundle. I don't actually love the second one he did because of how it exposes them for this play as Jose moves in, helps secure the double kill, and is probably getting out. We'll see.
Ooh, no, he stayed in the gravity well. He got caught on the very end of it, but now CoreJJ and Quid can make it a 1-for-1 trade here between the junglers.
Okay, so this is a reminder. This is a FlyQuest game. This is the FlyQuest versus Team Liquid game. They're going to fight.
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't feel like they need to, we're going to counter jungle Wolves at 8 minutes. It's going to start a fight.
Might as well.
Yeah, this is how this matchup plays out. So, wow, 5 kills to 3, already 1 kill per minute this early in the game. Scaling advantage for FlyQuest, 1 Drake, but Jose, on his most played champion of all time, really trying to push the tempo of this one because it's what he needs to do.
Well, I hope that we continue to see more spicy plays. This is fun League of Legends.
This is it.
Even if you don't need to invade the Wolves at 8 minutes, it's fun League of Legends to invade the Wolves at 8 minutes. Let's keep an eye on Quid and Quad here. You can see Quad slightly ahead in terms of EXP on the Viktor. Nobody's got their Rod of Ages up and running here just yet. Josedeodo going to go ahead and look towards the Void Grubs. Did spawn about 1 minute ago, so not the instant Void Grub take that you often do see when they spawn, but first Drake already went over to FlyQuest. Ocean Drake, again, always feels great when you can get that early on in the game, still contribute to the laning phase with that. Quad's going to go ahead and take his reset, take the long hike back down mid. Does not quite have the TP timer available here just yet. But let's check in on the top lane because looks like Josedeodo might try to get himself involved here, but Morgan's out of cooldowns, and you're not really going to get an opportunity to make anything else happen. Gakgos is down about a wave of farm, but if that's all you're down in the Sion versus Renekton matchup, you're feeling great.
Yeah, he's absolutely chilling. I will say Gryffin has ganked twice for him. Gakgos hasn't immediately benefited off of it with any kills, but it definitely helps keep that lane a little bit closer. But when you're up against the Morgan Renekton, the weird thing that I noticed about Split 1 with Morgan Renekton is he was pretty much never able to win with it. As we see, Josedeodo has his Eclipse for his MasterCard Power Spike, needs to continue to apply pressure with this Lee Sin. But Morgan's Zambessa was 3-0, was incredible. His Renekton, which is kind of supposed to be his best champion, I think he was 1-3 on it. And it just, to me, spoke to how Team Liquid was really disconnected throughout the split, and Morgan especially coming in late to the team, not having super strong English. It just didn't feel like he could communicate how he wanted the team to play with Renekton. We'll see if that's improved in the break between splits.
Josedeodo wants the Sonic Wave onto Quad, but Quad staying calm, just casually sidesteps away from that one, not going to find himself in any type of position where the kick might give a lethal angle. Dragon is spawned now for the second time this game. Hextech Drake, as both supports are trying to establish some vision control down here in the bottom half of the river. Both AD carries still just fighting back and forth for the shove in bottom lane. You can see control over there for TL and for Yeon's Varus as Quid gets the mid wave shoved up and rotates over to Drake.
Yeah, Jose's did have a level on Gryffin, just matched up. They both have their first item. I think it's pretty risky for FlyQuest to fight this one.
Okay, Morgan trying to make sure he puts enough pressure onto Gakgos. The Sion has no way to possibly contribute to this bottom side fight, as TL not going to full commit onto the Drake here just yet. Morgan trying to proxy farm a little bit, does get stunned up underneath the turret, manages to slice away. Meanwhile, the team fight down here on the bottom side of the map already starts off in FlyQuest's favor, but it's quickly responded. Gakgos gets the kill on Morgan back over in top lane as Jose kills off Cryogen. It's 2 dead for TL across the map, and they're trying to get something back on the FlyQuest down here now as Gryffin and Massu both got to try to get away. Quid flashes forward. Massu dies to Josedeodo. Gryffin hobbles away with 20 HP, and Team Liquid wants more. Jose barely misses out of the second one, and Yeon with the sniper fire takes him out.
Team Liquid wiped the floor at the Dragon fight, but Gakgos gets Morgan down on the top side, so a pretty even trade to start. Drake's gonna go over to Team Liquid though. Just as I was saying, risky fight for FlyQuest to take, Gryffin has already pulled the Dragon. As we see that. They have no risk tolerance, I guess. It's super risky. Let's just flip it.
Just full send it. YOLO.
Let's just full send it. It is backfiring more than it is helping.
Coming. I'm not weak here. Ezreal no dash.
Ezreal no dash.
Oh.
But pick
Has
up.
flash.
Taking slow. Has flash.
That's fine.
I think it's hinting. No flash. Trundle.
I'm killed shot. No,
I kill it.
I got stunned.
No flash, son.
I have
Oh,
Q.
no,
I have Q.
Post of flash. You can hit it.
Wow.
Nice.
Ezreal flash too.
The unified,
Yeah.
fine. A little bit of relief for those 2 health bars that both almost got away.
Max range Varus Qs is a universally satisfying experience, is what we've learned.
Well,
My
Team
goodness.
Liquid going to be pretty happy about their 1,500 gold lead. But back to what you were talking about, though. Gakgos getting the kill onto Morgan up in the top lane. This is a problem for TL. FlyQuest, again, certainly in the lead when it comes to the scaling. And having your Sion at this point of power, he's already got his Sunfire fully completed alongside that Bramble Vest. What does Renekton do to him at this point?
Yeah, exactly. And if we're thinking about fight setup, if Team Liquid's not able to flank, like, do you really want your Ryze burning all of his cooldowns onto the Sion, because your Black Cleaver Renekton or your Eclipse Lee Sin or your Lethality Varus are not cutting through that if it's a level 20 Sion with 300 armor. So it could be a problem later, but I would say with the speed that this game is happening, I'd slightly favor Team Liquid right now, just because I don't feel like FlyQuest has that off switch. That last Drake should have been the off switch to me. Top lane was trading aggressively. You already had the first Drake. The game was pretty stable, but they flipped it and they've now fallen further behind.
And here we go again. Josedeodo finds his angle onto Quad. They need a little bit more damage. They find it, but now Gryffin versus Quid, and the Ryze has to run. FlyQuest have the cavalry though, so it's a 2-for-1 in their favor.
Okay, now Gryffin is huge. That was a counter gank right there. Even though the burst almost came through from the Lee Sin, he was immediately there to pop down Subjugate. You got a full rotation of cooldowns from the Viktor, and they win the extended 2v2. Plus, he's sticking around to get extra plates. He just got massively accelerated on Trundle.
Nice chains of corruption there from Yeon, immediately forcing the cleanse response from Massu. So the Ezreal going to stay safe enough for now, but yeah, FlyQuest are loving the way that mid lane fight played out. Again, with the scaling advantage that you have, just compositional difference. Okay, cool. The game's in a dead even state. We're winning. And Jat, we are just about 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 15 minutes on the clock. Gakgos is up 9 farm, and he has lost no plates.
Yeah, but he's actually gotten 2 plates. So he's, based on our goals, 30 CS and 4 plates ahead of the goal.
Yeah, his goals have certainly been accomplished based on the metrics that we assigned at the very beginning of the game, as Team Liquid is going to try to take this opportunity to get the Rift Herald for themselves before FlyQuest is in any kind of a position to challenge for this, and it looks like they'll do just that. So maybe they can try to use this to, again, get back in control of the tempo of the game, but FlyQuest seem to be pretty comfortably just slowing things down.
Yeah, FlyQuest needs to slow things down and bide their time. Gryffin, with his Dead Man's Plate, anywhere he goes, he needs to feel confident, but they just need to have eyes on people so he knows the numbers of the fights that he's engaging himself in, because with the 2-item Trundle, especially if he gets level 11 for an even stronger Subjugate, he's going to be Trundle actually does a lot of damage. I think that's one of the underrated parts about Trundle. He can easily, I think, 1v1 Morgan if they're both level 11, and you walk in with the Trundle ultimate.
I mean, he has so many steroids in his kit with attack speed, move speed, attack damage, all just granted for free between the Q and the W. Then you get all of the stats that you're stealing with the ulti. Like, in terms of ball of stats champs, Trundle is one of the biggest ball of stats in the game.
He really is, and they're getting even more gold over to Gakgos right now. They got to be careful not to get engaged on.
Yeah, Cryogen finding himself caught out a little bit here. The chain CC from TL is enough to guarantee the kill, so they pick off the enemy support. But what else does that translate into?
Yeah, I mean, a nice pick there by Team Liquid. They're continuing to find fights and kills with Lee Sin, Ryze. Now they're popping the Rift Herald to try and get as many turrets. Quad had actually teleported away. They're giving this turret gold to Viktor when Sion could have taken it himself, but they're saying Sion's as tanky as he needs to be. He's switching mid.
Yup, and he's
that's
finding
sweet.
a flank onto Yeon. It's so easy for FlyQuest, and they even give the gold over to Massu, while Quad takes the tier 1 turret top like you're talking about at the same time.
Flowers, that was such a cool play because they teleport a top lane into Gakgos ulting for the kill. This might be a little ambitious.
Yeah, Gakgos finds himself quickly outnumbered. Sion's very tanky, but he's also taking a ton of damage here. Flashes away to try to bait Josedeodo in too far. Gakgos staying alive for now. Josedeodo, his mind's telling him no, but his body's telling him no too. Okay, Team Liquid's not going to go any further.
That was going to be a fat int if he took it.
Yeah, that was actually going to be reportable if you win it.
Yeah, well, it does push them off the Drake. Gakgos was trying to buy them time for the space. Team Liquid hadn't reset yet, so they jumped down and nearly killed Gakgos. The whole sequence still positive for FlyQuest. I really love how they gave gold to Quad, but then also managed to give gold to Ezreal based on what Gakgos did there. So really nice sequence. A little bit of a whoopsie at the end, but now the game is even. The gold really swung in FlyQuest's favor right there.
And an even game is a FlyQuest game with these two compositions.
It really feels like it.
We've already got the second item fully completed now onto Gakgos 2 with that Thorn Mail built up all the way from the Bramble Vest. You already touched on the Deadman's for the Trundle earlier here too. So things are progressing along nicely for their side over on TL. You can see the tier is almost fully charged up here for Yeon. He didn't go ahead and go for Manamune's second item. Wanted to get the Edge of Night first for the extra protection there from the Spell Shield block. And the Rod of Ages for Quid, critically only 2 minutes until that one hits full stacks for the extra level, the extra power spike. And that might be what Team Liquid needs to get through this big front line on the side of FlyQuest that is still really only building armor.
Yeah, Quid needs to try and collect some of the standing gold. This completely untouched top lane turret. Crazy that Gakgos.
How much
a lot of
damage?
crystalline overgrowths.
But before he hit the crust, how much, what did that take him? 50 damage? Maybe like one auto attack from Renekton at level 2 or something?
Or maybe literally just minion damage. I don't even know if Renekton had touched the turret up until this point.
It might actually just be caster minion autos for 3 damage at a time.
Yeah.
As Team Liquid looking up here in the top side. It's hard to make a play onto Gakgos, but Josedeodo is going to go all the way in, flash engage with the Dragon's Rage, and they do burst him down. So Gakgos out of the picture there, wants to try to meander his dead body back over, maybe clear out some of the wave, pick up some of the gold, but meanwhile FlyQuest is getting stuff done in the bottom lane. The split push coming out from the Viktor and Trundle combo, pushing straight towards the tier 2 turret.
Yeah, I think we learned a couple of things there. That Gakgos is not invulnerable. They can in fact kill him, especially if Quid's there.
Yeah.
Right? That was only a couple seconds before killing him.
Uh-oh.
Cryo.
Yeah, Josedeodo really wants this kill onto the Neeko here. Defensive pop blossom.
Nice
And
dodge.
yep, that's do you live or do you die? Do you sidestep that second Sonic Wave? Cryogen passes the test.
Got those young support hands. As Jose is just everywhere.
Yeah, Jose on this Lee Sin, on his most played champion of all time, constantly looking for the angles here. True Shot Barrage flies through. Griffin's in the middle of everybody, taking a ton of damage, has to flash over the wall to try to get to safety, but Quid is on a killing spree, has the damage he needs as Cryo tries to get back away. Gakgos wanting to create some space in the back line, and as Quad joins him, the FlyQuest solo laners have at least found a small opportunity, but Yeon and Morgan are ready to try to turn it right back around. Yeon with the flash over the wall, keeping himself safe while still doing the DPS he needs. Josedeodo finishes off the kill into Cryogen, and when push comes to shove, Team Liquid push harder. They win the team fight. They're up 3,000 gold.
Team Liquid just wins the hands check. That was an overforce for sure from Gryffin. He felt like he was untouchable, but he just walked in to 4 people, and he's gonna have to flash out early as the fight extends. Yeon makes a great play, but we're gonna have to watch this one more time. Jose starts it with a big chunk onto Massu, and I understand what FlyQuest is thinking. They have the teleport coming in, they have Viktor on the way, but Gryffin just jumps the play. If he waits 5 seconds for that TP to complete, maybe they win the fight. And off the back of it, they're able to collect the Baron as well, giving Team Liquid a big lead in the game.
21-minute Baron. Yikes.
That's nice.
That is not what FlyQuest wants to see right now. 3,500 gold lead, 2-1 Drake advantage. So it's also not like FlyQuest feels like they have the advantage in terms of the neutral objectives. You're not stacking up 3 Drakes to 0. It's not like an imminent soul like it was in game number 2. So now we'll see how much further Team Liquid can press this pace. They have Quid set up there on the split push towards the top lane. Remember, this is a Ghost Flash Ryze, so teleport not going to be able to bring him into the fight as quickly as he otherwise might be able to arrive, but the Realm Warp is just about off cooldown. He's also halfway to level 16, which of course, you know, going to give you the extra range, going to give you the extra utility on that one. And Morgan will just continue getting these waves shoved up here in mid. He's got Core and Yeon right next to him. The pressure is on. Josedeodo wrapping around here. They're not going to full send onto Gakgos to try to kill him again because they don't know where the rest of FlyQuest is. They'll just take the free plate money from the tier 2 turret instead.
I do wonder if Gakgos and Gryffin want to full send on to Team Liquid, though. You can see Gryffin is hoping to find an angle to just run in with the Viktor flank.
Yeah, there they go. Quad already going to go ahead and commit the Viktor ulti to this, but the Arcane Storm isn't finding a whole ton of value just yet. Chains of Corruption land onto Gryffin as FlyQuest has to try to get away. Quid has arrived, and he one-shots Cryogen. FlyQuest are scrambling as Team Liquid continue pushing forward. Flash from Gakgos over the wall, but Griffin's already dead again. TL pick up 2, clean.
Team Liquid just make the collapse at the right time. FlyQuest goes for a play mid lane, can't get anything, and now Jose also on the hunt.
Jose is not done yet. Sonic Wave, Resonating Strike, KO. Massu's out of there, and TL's not done yet. Pushing into the FlyQuest base now as the inhibitor turret is their target in mid lane.
We said they had to play fast. They got a Baron at 21, and they're breaking inhibitors at 23 minutes. They are succeeding in beating the timer in this game. Soul Point up on the board as well as they move towards Cloud Drake.
And we were talking about Quid and Quad earlier on in this series, the head-to-head of the QUD mid laners. Look at that individual gold lead in mid, 8, 2, and 6 for Quid's Ryze versus Quad's Viktor. 3,000 individual gold lead. I feel vindicated in my disappointment at Viktor being the pick after all those theatrics in draft.
Yeah, me too. Quad should have just picked Ryze. I mean, they'd already banned the Cassio, and then they didn't first pick the Ryze. So Team Liquid got their double pick of the litter. They wanted the Varus, they wanted the Ryze, and probably wanted the Renekton. All comfort picks for Team Liquid across the board. But I'd say even with that, Flowers, my disappointment right now for FlyQuest is immeasurable because I think they had this game in the bag. They just cannot play patiently. They overforced the fight that gave Team Liquid Baron in the first place, and then they run it down mid lane with no pillar, no engages, just continue to extend themselves, and Team Liquid punishes them again. So Team Liquid taking advantage when they need to, showing up when they have to, but FlyQuest is playing way faster than their composition would dictate they should.
Even race car drivers got to know how to use the brakes, right?
Yep.
It's imperative. You can't just always go, 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 go. And unfortunately for FlyQuest, this game has gone so far away from them now. They're kind of depending on a Team Liquid mistake, and this might be a good sign for that. Morgan flashing away. Sterix and Dominus keeping him alive for now. FlyQuest full pursuit here. They have to commit some resources to get it, but at least they find their kill. Problem is, Yeon also picks off Cryogen here at the same time, so it's a 1-for-1 across the map. And now Flyer in danger of getting collapsed on by the remainder of Team Liquid. Griffin's here on the front line. Quad's got to be careful. Core and Yeon looking to put some more pressure on as they've already killed off the enemy jungler. CoreJJ continuing to stay here on the front line, and Quid has arrived. That Ryze is about to wipe FlyQuest all the way off the rift. It's a 4-for-1 when it's said and done, and Team Liquid are not stopping anytime soon.
When Ryze actualizes someone, it's just silly.
It's really funny.
He ulted in, and Quad disappeared.
Q is a spell that's on like a 2.1 second cooldown or something.
Yeah.
And it does 4 digits of damage.
Yeah.
It's just really, really goofy.
Sheesh. You just made Quad completely disappear. With a little bit of MR, he's got the Merc Treads, but Quid is really putting his mark on this game.
All right, Jose, again, just going to look for any opportunity he can get to dive in. The Sion, anybody's a target. That is not the brick wall that you want this champion to be. And they just make sure that he will not stand in the way any further. He will not prevent this top lane inhibitor from falling. And remember, they took the inhibitor turret mid earlier, but now Quad's under pressure yet again, and the damage is far more than enough. Josedeodo getting the kill credit on that one. Lands a Sonic Wave. Okay, he's not going to take that. Nobody takes that. You never take that resonating strike right there, not unless the game is about to end, which it just might. First Nexus turret crumbles as TL continue their... God bless it, Jose. That was...
Wait, can they still end? Yeah, they can still end.
Okay, yeah, they should be able to end. Jose's having a good time. That was your celebratory Lee Sin engage at the fountain towards the end of the game. Massu, Cryo, and Gryffin still trying to defend as their second Nexus turret falls. Plenty of burst onto Massu guarantees that kill. Cryogen can't get away from Quid. Gakgos is back alive, but he and Gryffin can't do enough damage to kill the Ryze here just yet. The rest of Team Liquid's just focusing down the Nexus, and that's it. 26 kills in 26 minutes. Team Liquid wins the series 2-1.
Wow. Quid got a little out of control that game.
Oh, yeah.
He ended 11-2-10